Hello and welcome to Pages Pixels, the best movie-related show on the internet. I'm Rohan, that's Kirtana, and let's jump into it because we're talking about Thursday Movie Club, or no, not Thursday Movie Club, the Thursday Murder Club,
Murder Club.
directed
Yep.
by Chris Columbus.
It's Columbus.
Yep, I believe he he's done some pretty big movies in the past. I mean, Home Alone, Home Alone
Harry
and Harry
Potter.
Potter, most
Yeah.
notably. Um,
Mhm.
I think he also did Pixels. It was a big studio, big budget movie, not necessarily the biggest success, um,
Mhm.
but still a rather accomplished director coming into this
Mhm.
Netflix movie, which is an adaptation of a book. Now, I have not read that book,
Mhm.
but ultimately, it is about a couple of people at a retirement home that every Thursday they get together at their Thursday Murder Club,
Mhm.
and they solve mysteries, usually mysteries that were abandoned by the police. Uh,
Mhm.
so yeah, what were kind of your like overarching thoughts about this movie?
I went into it with, so I'm a sucker for murder mysteries and I really like old people movies. So I went into it like really excited. Um, I unfortunately thought it was pretty predictable. Um, like right from the get-go. Like I think it was it was a little too clear like how things were gonna go and like what was going to happen because I knew at the end of the day this was going to be like a feel good film where like these people win at the end. Like I wasn't
Yeah,
expecting like a big like you know how I think the moments that always get me are the ones that catch me off guard. So it's like if I am watching a plot and then like you're truly invested and you're like in the process of trying to figure out like what is going to happen to this character and then like something big happens that you don't expect. Like that's usually what it takes for me to say, oh my God, this is great. um this unfortunately didn't have that. There wasn't like I wasn't on the edge of my seat trying to figure out the mystery. And I don't even think that's like I don't think that's because of the mystery itself. I think it's because of the nature of the film. Like when you're going into a
right.
film about people at an old age home, like you know that like they're not gonna be like jerks about it and just like kill these people. You know what I mean? Like you kind of know like what you're expecting outside of the story. Um, it was an interesting watch for me though. What did you think?
Um, I see. It's funny with this genre. I almost view this genre like a game, where the game
Uh-huh.
is you want to figure out who who killed or who's the killer, and you kind of want to figure it out before the movie ends,
Mm-hmm.
and or before the movie reveals it. And ultimately, you can be satisfied either way. Like even if you figure it out before, great, you won the game.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't
Mm-hmm.
figure it out,
The movie one.
well, you lost the game, but at least you enjoyed your time there.
Mm-hmm.
Figure it
Mm-hmm.
out too early, then hey, maybe you won the game really early, but the question is, do you still enjoy it? And I think that's where I left the movie or that's where the movie didn't work for me because I didn't enjoy it to the point where I didn't even play the game. I just
Mm-hmm.
kind of watched the movie and I was like, all right, well, they're gonna reveal the killer when they reveal him, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, exactly. That's what I also mean. I did think that I it was very evident that they went out of their way to try and make these characters endearing in a certain way. Uh, it was I think it worked for the first like 20 minutes, and then after that I was like, I get each person's shtick. So it's a little hard to they didn't feel real. I think they felt written. Um,
Yeah.
especially that one nurse character who keeps like cooking or like baking. And it's this recurring thing of like she keeps trying to like serve people cake. And it was funny the first two times, and then it just became like, oh, she showed up, this is what she's gonna do now.
It reminded me of Fat Thor in Avengers Endgame,
Mhm.
where
Exactly.
when they reveal it, it's funny, and then they just keep making jokes over and
Yeah.
over and over again.
Mhm. Yeah, it was very interesting. I also like, um, I might have just completely missed. It did feel like a very like non-diverse film. Everybody looked the same. They kind of talked the same. I don't know. It just felt like a very flat film in terms of characters.
Mhm.
Uh, it's like all of them came from the same level of privilege. They're living in this like extremely, I don't know, like they're
Mhm.
living in a castle basically, right?
Yeah, it's the
Uh,
nicest retirement home ever.
right, ever. And I was just like, what are you complaining of? Like, because so there's that one storyline of that detective who's like in a coma, right? And that's the part that's supposed to, I guess, grip you. That's the part that's supposed to make you feel empathy and stuff like that. But am I just a bad person because I just didn't feel anything? I was just like, okay, cool, she's in a coma. Like that's all I had like to give. And I think that's because there's just such a distance between like real like humans that I live and interact with versus people who live in a castle and complain about it, you know.
Yeah. So I am going to push back a little bit on where everyone is. Um, so I get what you mean by it doesn't feel like a diverse film, but I think technically,
Mhm.
if you examine each character, they
Yeah.
are coming
Hmm.
from different backgrounds. I mean, one of them is like, one of them used to be in MI6. One of them is he led a labor union. And
Hmm.
I think that's Pierce Brosnan. His son is like a pro boxer, or he used to be a pro boxer, who is now whose career is just ending and is now
Yeah.
on like it's not Dancing with the Stars, but it's ice skating with the stars, something like that.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna push back on that, but I do agree where even though the movie tells you that these are characters coming from different backgrounds, they don't
Right.
necessarily feel that way.
Exactly. Like in terms of dialogue, in terms like literally their houses look the same. And I was like, okay. Uh, but sorry, yes, I didn't mean to
Well, they
cut
all
you
live
off.
in the same place. It's just
No, but I meant like even the interiors, right?
yeah.
Um, like the color palette is the same. And I was like, that's just a little like that was off-putting because it felt like a set after a point.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, I did like I really like David Tennant, so it was nice to see him in this, although he
Yeah.
did die. Uh,
Yeah, I
but
don't
like
think he was used nearly enough.
no, and there's this one scene where he's in a car, and this is like towards the end, right before he gets killed. But essentially, like the car's going, and he's like talking to someone on the phone or something like that, and it's like you can kind of see him try and milk what was there, like
Yeah.
in the screenplay. It's like you can see him like really try hard, but that I just feel like there wasn't even enough material for him to like try and like squeeze out a performance.
Yeah, I mean, he did the best he could with what was there. And to
Yeah.
clarify, I don't necessarily think it's terrible. This isn't that little the cutesy murder mystery genre where they're fun watches.
Hmm.
Um, and they have a huge cast and everything, and I think that's part of the appeal of like a Knives Out and Agatha Christie
Hmm.
movies,
Hmm.
where where everyone is like a huge star. So
Hmm.
usually if you see a murder mystery and there's like one huge star and everyone else is kind of a newcomer, you're gonna assume that the killer is the big star because they
Right,
gotta
right.
have the media role right.
Hmm.
Um, so then you cast everyone as huge stars. So now it becomes kind of an event and you don't know who the killer is. So the movie
Hmm.
does that, but it doesn't do anything else beyond that. It's
Hmm.
kind of trying it's a movie that's trying to hit the four quadrant where let's appeal to
Exactly.
everybody, let's offend
Hmm.
nobody,
No
let's
one.
not
Yeah.
push any buttons or any boundaries, and we're gonna
Hmm.
exist like this. And unfortunately, that doesn't separate it from. I mean, if this was a straight to TV movie with a bunch of actors you don't recognize,
Hmm.
with like a tenth of the budget, is the movie going to be any different?
Right, right, right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I felt like a lot of it. I felt like a lot of trust and I guess a lot of I don't know, just a lot of stakes were placed on the fact that these were big names and like people are
Yep.
going to show up and come watch it. Um, I was just not a fan of like most of the writing in it. It was very cookie cutter. It was extremely.
Yep.
like predictable. Even the dialogue was kind of cringy in a lot of places. And I feel like the police officer, like the white guy, weren't that like a like I feel like they just made him like a joke, and it's
Oh yeah.
I it was I don't know like if like I'm thinking about it like the more I think about it in hindsight, it just was like just very choppy, lazy, like creation all over the place. Like
I
even when
agree.
you look at like the camera shots or anything, there was nothing creative about it. It felt very standard. Like, okay, now we got to do like a mid, now a close up, and then we'll do some coverage, and then like that's it. Like there was no, hey, we're gonna like frame it this way. Here's the color palette to kind of immerse you. Just none of that.
I agree.
Mhm.
It's not. It doesn't really. It doesn't reach the level of the Knives Out movies.
Mhm.
Um,
Um,
especially because like they're I feel like they're about something beyond
mhm.
beyond just, hey, here's the murder mystery, who is going to be the killer. That first Knives Out movie, I thought it was pretty obvious who the killer was.
Yeah,
um
yeah.
but it was such a great movie, and it was also dealing with relevant themes. It was super funny, super well
Mhm.
shot. The
Mhm.
production design really stood out. um
Mhm.
just everything about Thursday Murder Club is like, it's fine. There's
Yeah.
nothing special about it.
Mhm. It's interesting because when you look at like so these are all like very formulaic, right? Like a murder, like a contained murder mystery. It's extremely formulaic. Like you know what's going to happen. Like one person's died, it's got to be one of these people. That's what it is. Um, I wanted to bring up Murder on the River Nile, or
Mhm.
what Nightmare.
Death,
It's murder,
Death
right?
on the
Murder
Nile.
on the River. Death on the Nile. Thank you.
Yeah,
The one with Gal Gadot.
yeah.
Uh, so so the thing is that's an Agatha Christie like book adaptation, right? Or story adaptation. And when I watch that movie, like you go into it kind of knowing what to expect. Like, they have one shtick and that's what it's going to be. But I think what that film did, and they were really smart about it, is that they kind of subverted expectations by not having the murder happen until way into the second act. Like
Hmm.
the murder wasn't the inciting incident. And I think a big part of so usually in a whodunit, like a big part of the mystery is you trying to figure out like who the killer is. In in Death on the River Nile, you're spending this entire like I think it was about 45 minutes before the kill even happened. But it's like you're spending that entire chunk of time wondering who is going to die because you know that the genre's already set up that expectation for you. So I think it is very possible to be creative and unique in this space. I just don't think
Yeah,
Thursday Murder Club did it. Um,
yeah.
there was that one scene that I thought was visually interesting, which was the when she goes to that flower cellar and he's like cutting these roses and he's just like bleeding all over his hands. Um, I thought that character was interesting. I wish they had done more with it. Um, it was just very like here's the problem and now here's the solution. There was very little like anticipation, weight, or anything like that.
I agree. And I actually believe the second Knives Out also does something like that, um where you don't know who's gonna die, because I think that murder happens even later
Hmm.
uh, than 45 minutes. I think it's like almost an hour into the movie, where,
Yeah.
I mean, somebody died before, off screen, before the movie started, but the first kill on screen doesn't happen until like
Hmm.
an hour.
Hmm. Yeah, it's I Glass Onion, right? I love
Yeah,
that movie.
Glass Onion.
It's-
Hmm.
yeah. Um, Very interesting. I also feel like in a weird sense, the menu also attempted to do basically the same thing, if you kind of think about it, where it's like, oh, these people's lives are in danger. Like you know their lives are in danger somehow, you just don't know how it's gonna come get them. Uh,
Yeah,
I love the genre. I really like the murder mystery genre. I just that's why I think I'm a little disappointed with the Murder Club because if I had gone in without like any of these expectations or without feeling excited for it, I think it would have passed as a fine movie. Like it was fine.
I'm very mixed on the genre because I like it when it works,
Mm,
but I feel like more often than not we end up
mm,
getting movies like Thursday Murder Club, and we get less of the
mm.
Knives Outs. Even
True.
the Agatha Christie movies, the new ones, I really don't like them. I mean,
Mhm.
especially Death in the Nile. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but
Yeah. Oh no, I agree. I actually wasn't like I just thought how they approached it was smart, but it's like I'm not a like I would say I like Glass Onion or Knives Out a lot better than Death on the River
Yeah,
Nile or even like Murder on the Orient
yeah.
Express.
Maybe
Um,
because Gal Gadot,
true, true,
yeah,
true. She is
enough
a turn off,
enough
yeah.
wine to fill the Nile. What is that? Is that what she does?
I just I feel so bad because I know she's memed a lot, just
Oh
generally
yeah,
because she can't do much. And there's just like I remember there's the second Wonder Woman movie with Pedro Pascal. There's like screenshots. So the meme is just of her in multiple scenes in the film, but it's the same expression. So
yeah,
they just like cut it and they'll be like, Wonder Woman when she's happy, Wonder Woman when she's sad, Wonder Woman when she's about to die, Wonder Woman when whatever. So I understand the general
yeah.
feeling turned off part when she's on screen.
I mean, I like
Oh,
Tom Ellis, the actor. I liked him
mm,
in Lucifer.
mhm. Don't you think that the tattoo was kind of like when they set that up, like when he was in that image, like doing his little boxing thing, and we saw the tattoo, like immediately I was like, okay, this is the direction the film is gonna take. Um,
What's the tattoo
I,
again?
it was like a man, like oh, so basically, like, are you asking me like what the beat was?
I mean, I'm asking you what the tattoo was. This movie is very forgettable, so I don't remember that
Yeah.
detail.
No, he just has a tattoo of the man, of like a man and a sword. Like, I don't know, it's a
Oh
weird design.
yes,
Yeah. But the point is, I'm like, so I think it's very rare that in films something unintentional is there. As in, like, they're not going to place a shot, they're not going to spend screen time on a shot unless it's either important to the story or they require it to patch for like something in the edit, right? So when they gave us like a couple of seconds holding on the tattoo, I was like, this is part of the mystery. Like this is gonna come back.
I know.
Um, it was I just so the main killer he does it and it's an accident and he does it because his passport was taken away and he wasn't allowed to visit his home country.
Mhm.
To me, I feel like that's fine. You can go ahead and kill people if they're doing that to you. Like it's, I don't know. It's like it's so hard for me to like. It's the classic question of like when you don't have an antagonist that you hate, it's hard to root for the protagonist. You know, it's
Yeah.
like cool. Um, it also like now that I'm thinking about it, wow, the cast was really stacked. Um, isn't that
Hmm?
isn't like Helen Mirren's husband the guy who plays the High Sparrow in Game of Thrones? Um,
Um, I'm not sure actually.
I think it might be. Um, that's yeah. Like the more I think about it, it's like basically everybody I was able to recognize from something big.
Oh yeah, I definitely recognized. Um, I recognize like almost everybody. Um,
Hmm.
in this movie. Again, and I think that's part of why the budget is so big.
Hmm.
At least I'm guessing.
I
I
mean,
just felt that it didn't really, none of that was enhanced.
yeah. I agree. I think it's really interesting how they keep like canceling a bunch of shows. Like they do like 2 seasons, 3 seasons, whatever, and then they don't renew it so that they don't have to renew like expensive contracts. But then they
Mhm.
drop like millions and millions of dollars on one of these. Uh, it's yeah, I don't know. I was also actually finding myself wondering if this would have been more effective if it was on like a big screen in a theater. Because I don't know, like maybe I was distracted when I was watching it. I don't know. I'm just trying to find like redeeming qualities at this point.
No, I will push back on that because again, going back to Knives Out and Glass Onion, I know people. I watch both those movies in the theater, but I know
Mhm.
people who watched them, watched them at home, especially Glass Onion. I think they had like a one weekend theatrical run, and then it went to Netflix. It wasn't even a full theatrical run. So most people watch that movie on Netflix, and they still really, really loved it. Um,
Mhm.
so I don't think theaters would have made a difference, honestly.
That's interesting. Like again, I was asking it as more as a question than like I because that's like it's not my thesis statement that like oh this would have worked better if it was in the theater. I was just
Mhm.
wondering. It definitely had you know we've talked about second screenwriting a bunch of times on here
Right.
where you write essentially, you write very obvious dialogue so that if somebody's not even looking at their screen, they can understand what's happening. And at that I found a little fatiguing because I get it if you're watching something else or you're doing something else and this is just going on in the background, it helps. It helps to have like exposition and like super obvious dialogue. But when you're just watching the thing and you're focusing on it completely, it keeps restating the obvious. They're describing actions because there's this one scene where there's a protest that's going on, and then one of the characters, the nurse, she walks in with a coffee machine. And then one of the dialogues is, "What are you doing here with a coffee machine?" And I'm just like, I see it. I see that she's walked
Yeah.
in with a coffee machine. Like uh, it's very interesting. I'm a little sad that that's become the trend because I feel like we started talking about it. I think the first time when we did the Carry On, uh, like the Netflix film Carry On, when we were
Right.
talking about it. And I think since then we must have mentioned it like at least like 5 or 6 times, which means like in less than a year, like multiple films have done it. Um,
Mhm.
it's a little
Yeah.
sad, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything about the film that you enjoyed?
Again, there's nothing that I felt was. I mean, there isn't stuff that I felt. It's not like I think the movie is just awful. It's just that there's
Mhm,
nothing that stands out.
mhm,
Um, really like good or bad. You know.
mhm,
Um, I don't think that this movie. I actually don't think that the mystery is terrible. I don't think that the characters are terrible or anything like that. But I also don't think that they're exceptionally good. I think just about every facet about this movie is just kind of
mhm,
middle of the road. If I had to
mhm,
choose kind of a favorite element, it would probably be production design.
mhm,
Because even though they did have that feeling of like this doesn't necessarily feel like a lived in place, it feels very much feels like a set.
mhm.
Um, at least the sets were interesting.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. Um, they were interesting, and I think some of the like okay, so the I liked some of the world building of it. It does feel very like oldish home, because there's that one scene where, I mean, they use like a clubhouse of some sort in on their premises to hold their
Right.
murder club meetings, and they keep talking about, oh, we need to get out of here before like the sewing thing starts or the baking thing starts or whatever. And I thought
Hmm.
that was a fun little element. Ben Kingsley has never been more invisible to me. Like I think he's a great performer in general, but he was just so underused and just so like I did what like it felt like he was just reading out lines, and I don't know, it was I just so flat.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of showed up, got his paycheck, went home.
Mhm. I think it was you know what, now that I think about it, I think um the meter was pretty off. Like everybody was kind of performing on their own kind of like tangent. It didn't feel cohesive. Like Pierce Brosnan's character, for example, like he really leaned into some of the eccentricities. And I don't know, it when he was doing that in a room of some people who decided to make more subtle acting choices, it just kind of like I don't know, just there was like a break in
Hmm.
like the energy of it. I He also was, I think Pierce Brosnan's character was also written to be like this adorable, like bumbling old man. So him like not being supportive of his son's like I don't know career choices was a little I didn't buy it. Like I don't
It
think
felt
that
odd.
it was forced, right? Because he's so excited to meet his son every week. He's so like he's so I don't know, he seems very invested in his son's well-being. And then you tell me that, oh, he's actually not proud of his son. I'm like, I I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
like yeah. As
Honestly, that
someone
whole
who knows
subplot didn't have to be there.
exactly. No, very true. Like I was saying, as someone who knows what it's like to have parents be disappointed in your career choices, I don't think that was a very realistic portrayal of it.
Yeah. No comment there. So it's time for scores, and the way we do things here is on the script coverage scale. There is
Mhm,
pass when we don't think a movie is very good, consider when we think it's decent, and recommend when we think it's great. So, and as a reminder, this is just a score. It's not an actual recommendation.
Mhm.
So with that, how do you rate the Thursday Murder Club?
Very weak considered, I would say. How about you?
Yeah, probably same. Again, it's a weak consider because I don't think there's anything um I don't think it's bad in any sense. Uh but I also don't think it really stands out.
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, it's just a little bit forgettable.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's exactly where I stand on it.
Yeah.
Uh, but
So
no, I mean it's a good way to, I guess, kill like a couple of hours if you have that time.
yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously you were kind of in the middle on it. So what would you recommend instead? Or what else have you been watching?
I'm gonna recommend the menu because I think it's a very, very interesting take on the same, like, so murder mysteries make you feel a certain way, right? Despite the fact that the menu isn't technically a murder mystery, it still makes you feel the same way. So I think
Mm,
it's a nice film to indulge in. What have I been watching recently? I actually went back to Veep uh, because I
again.
was just there's just something, that show is just so, it helps me kind of like step away. It's so far removed from like life in general that
Is it?
it's just not. I'll tell you what I mean. Like, I'm never going to relate to being the Veep or like being in the White House. Like, it's
Okay.
just not a world I will ever be a part of in my life. That's what I mean. I'm sure it's
Got it.
quite realistic in like what it's trying to say. But you get what I mean. Like the world of it is so far removed from what
Right.
will like it's never going to be my reality. So I love that. I love that about shows because it takes you like it really does help you like step away from life and uh, kind of indulge in this world. So I went back to Veep. I've really been enjoying it. Also, like one of the things I've enjoyed about like moving back here briefly is that I don't need 100 subscriptions. There's like 4 streaming platforms here, and like
All
every
right.
single show is on one of those.
Yeah.
And it's so nice. Like I don't have to worry about like HBO and Hulu and like Paramount or whatever. It's like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and like Hotstar. There's just three, and like they have basically everything I watch. So that I think I've been enjoying. How about you? What have you been watching?
So before moving on to what I've been watching, I wanna The Menu. Yes, great movie.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, like you said, not a murder mystery,
Hmm.
more of a thriller, I would say.
Hmm.
Um, Veep, awesome show. Weirdly enough,
Hmm.
if someone were to say, "Hey, what's your comfort show?" I'd say Veep. Uh,
Yeah,
and
because that show is very comforting.
yeah. So
Oh.
I've already name dropped both of these movies, but if you haven't seen them, Knives Out, Glass Onion, um, very, very similar, same wheelhouse, but in my opinion, they do it, they just do it a lot better than Thursday Murder
Mhm.
Club. I think both of them explore they explore interesting themes and the characters themselves are more interesting. And I
Mhm.
love the settings, Knives Out, um it has that like kind of a spooky theme of a guy who writes like murder mysteries. So you have that. It's not a chair, but the wall, right, with all the knives sticking out.
Mhm.
Glass
Mhm.
Onion, you have this like crazy high tech island, because
Mhm.
it's a super eccentric billionaire character. So
Mhm.
yeah, murder mystery that does something to really separate itself.
Right.
Um, so and that's kind of what I enjoy about those movies as compared to Thursday Murder Club, which kind of just bland. Um,
Yeah.
in terms of what else I've been watching, I did watch the World Series.
Mhm.
Watched the Dodgers win it. Very happy about that. It was intense, especially Game Three. Let me put
Mhm.
it in cricket terms, right?
Mhm.
So uh, imagine it's like the World Cup and it's India versus I don't know, Australia. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Um, and it's 20 overs. 20 overs ends, it's a tie. So they go in
Mhm.
super
Oh.
overs. They play another
Mhm.
20 overs and it's still a tie. And then on the very last ball, Virat Kohli hits a six and they win the game. That is what
Oh.
that
Oh.
is what
Oh. Oh.
game three of the World Series was. It took six and a half
Uh-huh.
hours long. Started at 5 p.m., ended at 11:30. That is That is Pacific time. They
Right.
were playing against Toronto. So if you're a Toronto
Mm-hmm.
fan, you watch that
Mm-hmm.
game. I feel bad for you because you stayed up till what, 2:30, and just to watch your team lose in the most heartbreaking
Lose.
fashion ever.
Uh-huh. But you don't
But
feel
yeah,
sad. You don't look sad about it at all. Like there is just
yeah, I'm not a
zero like
Toronto fan. That's
empathy.
why.
You're just like, oh, I feel so sad about that.
Yeah.
But no, I great. I mean, good to know that the Dodgers won. This news didn't even like hit my radar, but I'm sure the city was celebrating.
Oh yeah. The moment the game ended, I could hear
Mhm.
fireworks.
That's so cool.
Yep.
I miss it, but okay. Anyway, but no, awesome. Congrats to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
All right, so with that, we come to the end of this week's episode of the Pages to Pixels podcast. I'm Keertana. This is Roman, and we will see you again next week with a brand new episode. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.